Good morning, everybody. I think we are live and we are on day 12 of our 21-day experience. So we're over halfway. Isn't that pretty amazing? It's really important to check in today to see how everybody's doing. I realized this week can kick up quite a bit of stuff. And we are on a happy journey to create a happy environment, happy life, and a happy routine. So it's good for me to just check in at this stage and just see how you're all doing. Because what's so interesting is even though I'm your facilitator, your coach, the person bringing this really very special experience to you, I'm not immune or absolved from experiencing my own level of what's the word, hits as we embark on this journey, because it's about being human, flesh and blood, and having different experiences. So I know quite a few of you have reached out over the last few days to share a few things with me about what's coming up for you, and maybe a few challenges you're having. And I just want you to know that that's all pretty amazing and that's okay. You know, we can't put something great into place without having to sweep out a few of the things that perhaps are old, no longer relevant, or relevant but no longer meant to impact our life the way it has in the past. And so we embark on a journey where there's a bit of discomfort along the way. So if you're feeling discomfort, rather reach out to me like some of you have. Let's chat about it. Let's text about it, whatever is comfortable for you, so that it doesn't stop you from continuing to move forward. Because it's the moving forward through this process that's going to get you to the other side. Stopping now could get you stuck, which means nothing detrimental will happen, except you might have to get through this process again one day. And what we'd really like is to keep going and keep moving forward, because remember, it's the future that we have power over. The past has occurred. It's what it is. So good morning to you amazing people. Just my little words of wisdom before we actually start today. Good morning, Claire. Hi, Donna. Hi, Claire. You're enjoying learning new ways to increase the happiness in my life. Love that, Claire. It really is quite an interesting journey. Kind of takes you up and takes you down. And each one of us are going through different aspects in our life at home at the moment. I don't know what you guys are all facing, but you know, you can never have the perfect environment. But it is interesting how things come into your life when you're doing this kind of work, and they kind of show you things and get you thinking. And today our topic is all about, that's right, our beliefs. Good morning, Paula. Lovely to have you here with us as well this morning. So beliefs is the topic of the day. And gosh, I only have 15 minutes, maybe even a bit less. And this is such a big topic because it really is the foundation, the fundamental piece to everything. Because what we believe intrinsically is what we create. So my beliefs will determine the way I experience my life. What I believe comes from a set of feelings, and let me just check my notes because this is huge. There's so much I could have spoken about today. Yeah, feelings and behavior, what we feel and what we do ends up creating a belief. And that then becomes the foundation on how we live our life. So I'm not sure if you want to put it out there, but just write on the piece of paper in front of you how old you are, you know, and then just think back. Donna in here often talks about a tape measure, and we often talk about timelines, you know, how far we are away from our last difficult moment, or, you know, how much of our life today is being dictated to us by something that happened so very long ago that is it relevant anymore? And so what I really want to cover today when we're talking about beliefs and everything is just a short scenario. There's some questions that I want you to answer for yourself when it comes to beliefs. And let's see if we can just understand the concept of something rather than actually dive into a set of beliefs right now that you want to change. First, understand how you can work through a belief, find it first of all, and then work through it. Once you understand that, then you can start sort of exploring whether what you believe today about something is actually still relevant, or if in fact you've actually transitioned, changed, grown, and evolved, and so that belief is now old, out of date, and needs a little bit of a facelift. How does that sound? So, beliefs are something that are subject to change. Let's think about that. So, write that down. A belief is something that is subject to change. So you actually have the power within you to effect change over something that is a fundamental or a belief of yours that is not serving you anymore. So one of the stories that I read about when I was just sort of putting some notes together for us today was a story about a couple who met and went out on a date, and during the date she expressed how she really liked to have greens and bacon as a side dish. And he turned around, and in the greens there were beans as well, so beans and green leaves and then crispy bacon. And on the date he turned around and said, "Oh, can't stand that. I just cannot even, I hate that." And so he had a belief that he didn't like greens with bacon. And so every time they went on a date, she would order her side dish and he would go, "Oh, oh." But every time she would say to him, "Why don't you just try it, taste it? Maybe what you think it is not entirely true anymore," or something to that effect. And so one day he said, "Tell you what, just give me a little bit and let me try it." And he did try it, and he took a small bite and he chewed and he went, "That's actually not so bad." And then he had more. And he said, "Actually, this is quite tasty." And what it really resolved to at the end of the day is that the next time they went out, he ordered his own sides of greens with the bacon. And I think the softness of the lesson there is that we can become so determined that the thing we believe is a law that can't be broken, and that we have to work our way through our life by these beliefs, rather than getting to a point where we actually look at the thing that rules us and says, is this actually still true for me? Because remember, it's your belief. It's not your friend's belief or your parents' belief. Sometimes it can be influenced by certain people that we've held in certain esteem as we've grown up, or worked alongside, or maybe had a moment's experience with. Remember, if we're talking about tapping in all these other things that we've spoken about over the last few days, our perspective, our thoughts, our happy thoughts, there's a whole mirage of things that happen in the background. And sometimes we don't actually have to go and live in the past. We don't have to go back to the past and dig it all up again. We can just think about what we believe about something, so we can keep it quite compact and manageable, because we know that when we go back to past experiences, like we've had to with our happy thoughts, or trying to find happy thoughts, we've hit up against a few things that haven't made us feel so good, because we've been reminded of stuff, and that's good too. I've just finished watching a TV program, a series, and it triggered and kicked off some things for me, and I went, wow, I can't believe that stuff that doesn't impact my everyday anymore can, in a flick of a switch, by some visual representation, trigger feelings and emotions in me that are still very much alive and well. My thing is that it's not about putting my head in the sand or denying those feelings. It's just I choose to put less attention on them. I can't change the past, but what I can do is I can change my future, focusing on the things that make me feel good, developing beliefs that empower me and that change my life experience because of what I'm focusing on. So this is not about denying or ignoring. This is about choosing how I want to build my life going forward. So Here is the exercise. But before we do it, does anybody want to ask anything? Does anybody want to say anything? Let me check the chat. Okay. Morning, Karen. I am on animal duties out in the rain. I believe I'm not a farmer. Okay, well, I love that. So you believe you're not a farmer. I believe you're not a farmer as well. Because I know you're something else and you're many things. So not a farmer is absolutely acceptable. So guys, just let's start. Just one of the things you can write down now is to just think about taking a moment and saying, what do I believe? What are my beliefs? Again, this is one of those things where we live our life on an autopilot. We go about our day, we say yes, no, maybe, definitely not, absolutely. And then we have an experience, we go, oh, why did I do that? We literally just roll our life out. We have our to-do list, we have the things we have to get done, and we just roll through the day. But how often do we actually sit down and say, I wonder what my belief structure is like? What do I believe in? So here's something here in this book that I'm working from. I think I've referred to it before, my lovely Psycho-Cybernetics. It's a heavy read, but it's very interesting for anybody who wants to sort of make a little bit more sense about this. But sometimes it's great to examine and reevaluate your beliefs. And this is on page 91 of this book. So if you do have it, or you're planning on getting it, page 91, examine and reevaluate your beliefs. So how many people do you suppose would love to have a perfect lifestyle, and if asked about it, would quickly produce a laundry list? So the idea of your perfect lifestyle, what does that look like? And then how quickly could you come up with all the reasons why you couldn't have that? Okay, all these, what some might say are excuses, sounds rough, but think about it. How often do we put our own blocks in the way about the things that we want? And how often are those things linked to some belief that we have about ourselves and our ability, or our circumstance or our situation, that then stops us from actually saying, hey, do you know what? Why would it be any different between me and the person next to me going for that goal, or going for that thing that I really want to have in my life, that particular career, or purchasing that particular car? Time scale is perhaps the only thing in our way, and perhaps a little bit of work in figuring out what we have to do to achieve it. But why stop at the first hurdle? Okay, there's a question for you. So we'll come up with all these excuses. The reasons are not reasons based on current rational thought at all. They are just beliefs subject to change. So sometimes we think we're being very logical and saying, well, I can't do that because da da da. But in fact, it is simply a process of a time when we made that decision that that was what we believed about something. And it was linked to a behavior and an action that we took, linked to a feeling. So we did something, we felt some way about it, and bam, we created a belief. And that's really all it is. So imagine if we could change our belief about something. And often this is particularly in an area where we feel we're being limited or held back from being happy or living our life freely or being able to honor ourselves with the things we so desperately dream about. And that is what we're going to explore today. So it's about asking yourself whether your belief is in fact real. Yes, Donna, that quote is very right. Whatever you believe, whatever you say you can or can't do is absolutely right. And I think they refer to that quote from Henry Ford. If you say you can or you say you can't, you are absolutely right. So that is an underlying thing. But then take it a step further. If you say you can't, is that absolutely the case? Is that true? Because you might as well say you can and then figure out how to do it. So, is there some task you would like to do some channel in which you would like to express yourself, but you hang back feeling that you can't. Ask yourself why. So, how often do you go about and then you hear someone or you hear yourself saying, I can't do that. I just can't do that. You know, if I was like, I used the example the other day, if I all said to you, let's go do a live. I want you guys to all do a live. What is your immediate reaction? If you've never done it before, you're going to go, I can't do that. You know, and that would be a new belief, because that's quite a new age thing to do. But there must be other things in your world where you're saying, I can't do that. Why? Well, and then make a list of the reason why you cannot do this thing that you've been asked to do. Then what you do is, I think you look at that list and say, how true is it that I can't do this thing? And perhaps you might find out, if you had a little bit more information, or you took yourself back, one step back, and gave yourself a little bit more time, you'd be able to do this thing or eat this piece of food that you might like to try, to just see if there is a shift. Does that make sense, everyone? So, you said you can't do something. You say, I can't, and you ask yourself, why? Why do I believe that I can't? Then ask yourself, is this belief based on actual fact? I can't wear this because I only have 3 fingers and I would have 2 less fingers if I put my gloves on. Or I can't even think of a can't. Can you believe it? So, is this belief based on actual fact or on an assumption or a false conclusion? So a very obvious one is, if somebody said to me, Tess, can you go and operate on John Smith out there because his appendix is about to burst and we need to remove it? And if I said I can't, I would be absolutely spot on. Now, the chances are that I wouldn't be able to take John Smith's appendix out, right? Correct. Because in that moment, I'm not skilled in being able to do that. But if I decided that that was something I really wanted to be able to do, then I would have to sign up to medical school and go and get a degree in medicine. And then I would be able to operate on a person whose appendix is about to burst. So in that instance, in that moment, I can't. And that is not even a belief. That's just a fact. Okay? The thing is that often we don't see our internal beliefs that are linked to our feelings and emotions as factual, because they're so emotional and woven into us. They are never given the light of day of logic, and that can really be a helpful piece for you to consider. So let's look at the next question. So once you've established whether your belief is a fact or an assumption, or maybe something that's not actually true, but you've never given it oxygen to consider it, then you ask yourself these 4 questions, and I'll pop these over to you after the call today. Is there any rational reason for such a belief? That's question 1. So really, is there a reason for this belief? Why don't I like beans? Because maybe when I was 3 years old, my mother fed me beans so much, I kind of went, I don't like beans anymore. Or is there something bigger than that? And maybe now that I'm an adult and I try beans, I might like them. Food is easier to change, all right? I'm keeping the examples light because I don't want to tap into the deep-seated stuff. But imagine the freedom of being able to enjoy beans with somebody you love, rather than having to always have another side, which is not an issue. But, to share something together can be so wonderful if it's relevant, So your second question would be, could it be that I am mistaken in this belief? Could it be that I am mistaken in this belief? You're just asking the question. And you don't really even have to have the answers. What's really powerful when we come to explore our belief systems is to just ask the questions. Sometimes the answer can be found in our subconscious mind, in fact, as we inquire about this thing. It brings our attention to the question at hand or the belief at hand. So question 3 is, would I come to the same conclusion about some other person in a similar situation? Aha, this is a great question. So question 3 is, would I come to the same conclusion about some other person in the similar situation? Okay, and number 4, I'm sure I'm going to be speaking way too fast for you guys here, but you can play it back and then I'll send you the questions. Why should I continue to act and feel as if this were true if there is no good reason to believe it? That's a bigger question, and it will be answered in a different way dependent on the belief that you're looking to change. But if we can bring our logic mind into place and just ask these basic questions and get some kind of distance between the belief and the emotion, we can start saying, okay, so what are the other alternatives that I could consider here? You know, if you think about children who are afraid of the dark, there is something that can live on in their life, for a long time, about fear of the dark. So for today, it's really just about exploring your beliefs. And if you can find a belief that has kind of limited you for some time, that you are aware of or becoming aware of, and you want to change it, a fear, you believe you can't speak in public, or you believe you'll never overcome the fear of driving in a city, or there's so many things, I can't do that. So write your I can't list down and then look at them and say, if I took them in bite-sized chunks, would I be able to transform? If I put logic in, would I be able to rework this belief? Now, you don't have to go through all your beliefs, okay? There are some that are really fine where they are, and they are there for a reason. But there are some that limit us from our ability to move forward and achieve our goals in life, to experience happiness and enjoyment. And those are the ones that are worth a little bit of attention. And so the exercise for today is to find one belief that you would really like to put under the microscope and play around with. Choose something that's kind of light, not too complex, and see if you can take this belief through these 4 questions. And if you could rewrite your belief in a new way, linked to new feelings and choosing a new behavior, and see if you can't transform your belief about something into something that actually brings you closer to a sense of, I can do that now. And that'll take us back to Monday's lesson, was it? Or was it Friday's lesson, where we spoke about being in the present moment? So let's forget about what we believed of the past, work on a logical, rational conversation about a belief, and then move forward with your new written belief that you want to establish, and then begin speaking that to your mirror in the morning. Write your new belief. And please share with me whatever it is. If you get stuck and you can't figure out how to transition one belief to the next, give me a shout, and let's see if we can figure it out between now and tomorrow. And just enjoy the process. Remember, this is all about moving through maybe some sludge, some stuff that's been a bit tricky, but keep it light and be kind to yourself. Guys, I've gone way over today, but this topic is a little bit more, there's more to it than just a quick fix. But it's beautiful to know about, and it's lovely to know that you can actually shift these things. I know you know that, but it's actually, guys, in doing the work. And sometimes it is good to do this with somebody who can facilitate the process for you, hold you in a space, or allow you to express it more clearly, to change it. So those are more the deep-seated beliefs that that are going to pop up possibly. But otherwise, give it a try, stay light, and you know I'm here if you need any help with anything along this journey. So if you guys have any questions, please fire them out. Otherwise, go forth and explore a belief today that you would like to turn around, whatever it might be. Take care. Bye for now. Oh, and one last thing. Tomorrow morning I do run my BNI chapter. So we start at 7 and we finish at about 9 o'clock. So I know last week it was a light 12 o'clock. Tomorrow I will be on the call at 9 o'clock, no matter what. So if you miss the live because of the time, I do apologize, but it's just every Wednesday. But the recording will be up shortly after 9 o'clock. So have an amazing day. I am so amazed and proud of you for being here, and just keep going. Morning, Jules. Great to see you here. And just, yeah, be kind to yourself the whole process. Remember, you are looking to enhance your life experience. And that doesn't have to be difficult, but don't be afraid of the challenge. Push through. See you in the morning. Bye for now.